Human design is a synthesis of Eastern and Western astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Hindu chakra system, Judaic Kabbalah, and quantum physics. What do all of these systems have in common? Archetypes. Every one of these systems is just a way of taking the neutral, if you will, neutral concepts of what it means to be a human, all the components of the story of humanity, and putting them together in relationships so we can use human design basically as a Rolodex, if you will, of all the human archetypes. And we can start using our chart as an exploration of our unique interface with all of these essential human archetypes. So an archetype is an idea, a symbol, a pattern, or a character type, usually in a story. So if you think about your human design chart, in your chart, you are living your own personal story that's comprised of all these different archetypes. Every element in the chart is an archetype. Why is this important? I'm going to tell you why, and then I'm going to bring you back to some of the bigger archetypes in human design. This is important because, first of all, if we don't know the archetypes that we are designed to be exploring, if we're trying to live in a way that is not aligned with the archetype of our chart, you know this, I know you guys know this, if you're not living true to who you are, it creates a creative challenge. The biggest causes or the biggest challenges that we have are, number one, trying to create in a way that's not right for us. So we know if you're not living true to your human design type, you have a potential to run amok, right? Or at least not get the results you're hoping for. Number two, the other reason why we sometimes get bungled up is we're trying to create something we don't really want. We're trying to create what we think we should want, or we're trying to create what I call a Band-Aid solution. So we think, oh, if I do this, I'll make a bunch of money, and then I can take that money and I can rest and then go do what I really want to do, right? So if we're trying to really create something we don't really want, sometimes we get ourselves creatively bungled up. And of course, there's no one-size-fits-all way to create. So if we're trying to create in a way that isn't right for us, we run into trouble creatively. You have to know who you're designed to be, which archetypes are part of your soul curriculum, in order to know how you create and ultimately what you truly want. And I might add, ultimately who you truly be. So we are each an expression of the creativity of the divine. The cathedral of our life journey is an experience of holiness. This isn't a building you go to. It is right inside of you, constructed every moment of your life. We build it by letting go of our need to manipulate, control, and judge, so that we may simply learn to be the creative fulfillment of who we are. You being you is the most incredibly creative act that you can commit. And ultimately, as you'll see in just a minute, it is the most defining thing that you can do, and the biggest, most powerful way you can bring yourself back into alignment and into harmony with the light that is you. So, speaking of light, if you have glass that is a perfect piece of glass and light shines through this glass, the light that shines through, the entire spectrum of the light comes through. The entire full range of all of the potential of the light comes through the glass. Okay? But you have to have perfect glass for this experience. If you have, let's say, on the top window to the left, if you have a drape or a shade over the glass, obviously it's going to alter the way the light shines through the glass. If you have a broken window and it's got cracks like this one does on the right-hand side, it's going to alter the way the light flows through the glass. Your human design chart is basically a soul curriculum that's going to show you, when you understand it, what you need to master to become like that clear glass and let the light shine through. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm continuing with my journey, if you will, of helping you see that we all have all of the chart. We all have all of the chart. Some of you have elements that are open, so some of you have elements where you're amplifying the chart and you're experiencing it in that variable way that is openness. Some of you have definition, and that definition is fixed and consistent and gives you some consistent themes that you're exploring from within yourself. So your openness is energy oftentimes that you're exploring through your relationships. Your definition is energy that you're exploring from within yourself. No matter what, the goal of your human design or the goal of your human life is to learn to allow the greatest amount of light to come through you. So the goal, if you will, is to fully become the expression of light through the unique experience of your human design. So the 5 basic core archetypes in the quantum human design chart are the manifestors, which we call the initiators, the generators, which we call the alchemists, the manifesting generators, which we call the time benders, the projectors, which we call the orchestrators, and the reflectors, which we call the calibrators. Your type represents one layer of challenge, if you will, one layer of learning, or one layer in the layer cake that is the human design chart, because there's all kinds of layers, right? We have type, we have profile, we have centers, we have circuitry, we have gates. We have, then in conjunction with that, we have what I call the 9 resiliency key, the core archetypes that have to be functioning at a high level for us to not self-sabotage. Okay, these 5 core archetypes, your archetype that you're embodying in your chart, is giving you a code, if you will, for what you need to explore and learn and master in order for you to allow yourself to be in greater alignment with the light that is you. By the way, we're all light. The material world is just simply light made manifest at different speeds, okay? Your human design is how quantum mind communicates through you. Okay, let me go back and say this again. Your human design is how quantum mind communicates through you. Your human design chart isn't about how you do your chart, your type. It's not about using your type to do something a specific way. Your type is the interface between you and the quantum field or life's intelligence. And the more we be our type, the more life's intelligence flows through us, and it becomes the way in which we interact with and get into that feedback loop between the material world and the quantum world, or the material world and quantum mind, or the material world and God, source, whatever word you want to pull in here. The consciousness code, meaning part of the code that the chart brings you, is contained within the entire structure of the chart. So this chart, this is a personal chart. You all have your unique charts. Your unique chart has encoded in it your unique soul curriculum, if you will, the thing you are here to learn about and explore and master as people who are learning to be more in alignment with the light over the course of your life from birth to death. So your code contains your personal code. It also tells you, once you learn how to interpret your experience in the world and understand the chart, it tells you key things you need to explore and learn about in order to wake up to the experience of you being light or you being awakened to the light. So every element in your chart contains a light code. It contains a code for becoming the quantum human expression of light. Every archetype in this chart is showing up literally on a spectrum, on a light spectrum, on a spectrum of possibility. And the more we can move towards consciously choosing the highest expression of every element in the chart. So if we look at the root center, the highest expression of the root center says, I'm in complete and total alignment with divine timing. I trust and I am safe. I know that I am safe, and because I'm safe, I let the right timing take care of itself, and I'm just going to be here waiting for the right timing. And then when the timing is right, I'll interface with whatever comes next correctly according to my human design strategy and type. Activating your light codes always starts first with language. That's why I rewrote all of the vocabulary in the human design system, because when I went back and I looked at it in the lab and I looked at the impact of language on how the body responded, when we used higher frequency language, good quality, high frequency vocabulary words, it actually changed the body's way that it responded to the language, and it increased the body's capacity to hold light and to use light more effectively. There is a Hebrew word that I love. The word is davar. The word for word in Hebrew is the same word as the word for thing. So words and things in Hebrew are the same. I love that because when we start putting language to it, we start to create it in our life, right? Words create, they endure, they allow for unity, they transmit, they're the interface between the divine and the human. They are power, they translate the infinite to the finite, and the other way around too. Words are the code for a story, and the words carry frequencies of energy. When we look at DNA and we use good, powerful words, it actually expands, and the strands of DNA actually get bigger, and its capacity to hold light increases exponentially. You can actually use language to splice DNA. That's a whole nother story too, but Russian scientists actually programmed the syntax of language into radio frequency waves, and they were able to use those radio frequency waves programmed with that syntax to splice DNA. That's how powerful it is. You know from the work of Dr. Emoto that words affect the crystalline structure of water. We also know that when DNA, we are hypothesizing, scientists are now really beginning to look at that the function of DNA is actually to encode the crystalline structure of water on a cellular level.